All right, you guys, welcome to another episode of Millennial Motive. We both know that it's been quite a while since we've filmed an episode or anything of that matter, mainly because of everything that's been going on with COVID and everything. We really had to adjust, but we appreciate, you guys that are listening and viewing, tuning in and keeping up to date with how everything is going with Millennial Motive. We're excited. George is excited. To get everything back and running again the way it was. Hopefully, we can get back into a studio realm. But until then, you might see a lot of episodes like this. I mean, ultimately, that's the world we live in. But enough about that. The cool thing about what's going on right now and the awesome thing is we have a very, very special guest. His name is Max. Max, I'm just going to allow you to introduce yourself so that way you can let the viewers and listeners know a little bit more about you and what you're all about, man. So go ahead and take it away.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to start it up here. But so my name's Max, and what I do is sports nutrition and just general nutrition. It's been quite the journey. It's really fun for me. I really do enjoy doing it. It's kind of all angles. It's from your average Joe to all the way up to athletes as well. And to sum it up, that's pretty much it, man. We just look at food intake, how much, when, and we do our best to find the method that works for you and whatever scenario you have, whether that's sports or just trying to live a healthier life. So that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me and Max, how we met was really interesting. The cool thing about the world we live in today, right, Max, is you can, social media, I say it all the time. It's amazing how it can connect to people appropriately. And that's how me and Max connected. Max had shot me a DM talking about nutrition and everything like that, which people that know me know that I'm big on it too. I'm really big on eating right, getting in the gym and everything like that. And when Max reached out to me, I was like, oh, heck yeah, let's talk about that, and then, he was also talking about another business venture, but, what we were talking about is how we need to spread light and give information out to people that really need to understand, how to live a healthier lifestyle, whether that's a diet plan, going in the gym or whatnot. But me and Max, we met each other, George, through Instagram, man. We DM'd each other, and then I just was like, you know what, Max, you want to get on an episode, dude? And he was like, heck yeah. He was like, yeah, I would love to. And, one thing leads to another, and here we are today. But one of the things I wanted to ask you, Max, is what really inspired you to get into the fitness and nutrition field?
Oh, it's tough, man. It's tough to say, but I mainly just had a passion for it when I was pretty young. Like I remember being like that 12, 13 and looking at magazines. I was looking at, I don't know, there was stuff on the internet maybe. I don't really remember what kind of drew it in, but I always had this passion to build the body that I've always wanted. And that's kind of, it just stuck with me. And then I started taking it serious as it went forward or as I got older. But I think hockey definitely helped with it. I would say it was more on the side of like discovering and feeling what it feels like to like get a pump. I'm not even kidding. Like this is kind of what locked me in is what like we would go work out with our teams when I was like 14. With our hockey teams, we would do our dry land, right? So our weights and stuff. And I remember starting to push some weight and getting like the pump, and you feel way different. You feel better. And then I was kind of just locked in from there. We always did like activity stuff, but it was like more like games, or at the younger ages, right? It was more games or just like really focused on hockey, like skills. So we would have drills or workouts that we would have to do where we're like sliding around or whatever it was, right? And I never got to like lift weights. And that was the one, after I did that a few times, I was like, okay, like I love this. And I want to stick to it for sure. But I did have a goal of like, I want to be bigger. I was skinny, but at the same time, I was only like 14. But in my eyes, I was just a little kid, and I was really skinny.
You knew you wanted to be yoked, huh? So in other words, that Superman, that superhero feeling is what really got you. You're like, I feel powerful,
But that's pretty much it. But the other side is like, I got into it I don't know what changed my mind into being like, okay, I want to do like more or less like because before I was doing performance based, like, right? So now I'm like doing an overall look or physique style of training now. And that's when it was like that 15 years old mark, and I got a job at a supplement store at 15. And that was the one that kind of like sailed it. I was just like, okay, I'm fully committing into this. Like
you jumped all in after that.
I was like, I love this. Like, I want to take it to the next level. But I think, I focused on the supplements a little bit too much, thinking it was going to reward me a bit more. We'll get into that later. That's a really good one. But no, that's what got me into it, interested, learning it, right? And then the rest is history, man.
Yeah, the rest is history, yeah. So when would you say, like, you first started, like, what age were you when you first said, you know what, I'm going to make a full-fledged commitment to this. This is the lifestyle I want to live, and this is, you know, what I want to do to help other people to live the same lifestyle. Like, how old were you when that really hit, that moment when you were like, you know what, screw everything else. You know, this is who Max is all about.
Yeah, as like a career perspective, it probably would have been like 19, maybe 18 years old when I was just like, okay, after I did it for a while myself and took those years, discovered like what was working for me, what's not working, like what's the best, not necessarily best, but best method for me. Like, what do I enjoy doing? I think that's the one thing that a lot of people kind of slide is just like, what do you like to do? Yeah, we can all tell you what to do and what works, but what works for me might not work for you. Like, you might not enjoy certain things that I do or vice versa, right? So that's the main thing, is finding a routine, finding something that's active or whatever it is that you enjoy doing, because it's really hard if you don't like it.
That's true. That's a really good saying, you know, to live by. Like, you have to find something that you really enjoy doing. If you don't find something that you enjoy doing, I mean, what type of life are you living, right? I mean, you know, who wants to, you know, do anything that they don't want to do, either whether that's for someone else or for themselves? You know, that's one of the hard things about being an entrepreneur. I think all three of us know is, you know, when it comes to figuring out what you want to do, going after it and ignoring all the other potential paths that are in your way, you know what I mean? And just sticking to it, because it's very easy to get sidetracked from a lot of other things, you know? But yeah, that's really good. So how old are you now though, Max? I mean, go ahead and tell the audience, like, how old are you now? So 19 you would say, but how old are you now?
I am 26 now.
26.
Just babies. We're all babies in the grand scheme of things. Like that's only what, 7 years, dude? That's nothing.
Yeah. And then, you know, from 19 to now, you know, how would you say that you've experienced a lot of growth from 19 to now 26?
I would put it as it's tough in certain areas. Yes, like body wise and like physique wise, very, very small. It's been, I've maybe added like 10 pounds since then. I haven't really, because I got to my point and I loved it and I never wanted to change. So it was kind of like I would have like an off season or on season, like most bodybuilder physique people. But I never really wanted to get big. That wasn't my goal. I like this, the beach body type is the easiest way to explain it, right?
Yeah, the healthy physique.
Right. So that's what I wanted. And I wanted it to be like sustainable. And that was the big part of it. It's just like, but I also was like comfortable with being like that, right? Like, there's a lot of guys that just keep chasing, right? Because they're never satisfied with it. And I mean, I'm not satisfied. I'm not going to just drop it all and just like be like, oh, I'm done. No, it's like you maintain it, and then you get to go into more specific areas or different styles of training and hit different groups in different ways, right? So there's always way to grow and develop your body overall. But yeah, you can get really deep into it, right? Like, there's no cap on where to stop, especially with like nutrition too. Like that doesn't end.
Would you say that there's a part of, I guess, you know, I know the nutrition side of it is very, very important, you know, and that's what we're going to definitely get into is overall health and nutrition, right? But on a side note of nutrition, there's also like the bodybuilding, right? Would you say that there is a unhealthy side of doing that? Because I've seen these dudes like, and they're yoked, right? They're ginormous. And, you know, one of the things I think about is I'm pretty sure like getting that big, getting that huge is probably not good for your body, right? I mean, speaking from a professional nutritionist, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's preference too. I mean, they can do whatever they want with their body, anything like that. What you want to do is just try live the healthiest life that you can. It's really going to be a preference thing. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and look at those really big guys and be like, oh, you're unhealthy, whatever. Like that's his life. Obviously, on those really big guys, the choices that they make aren't probably going to be the best. And you can listen to, some of them are open about like what they use or what they do. And I mean, there's some pretty crazy stuff that they do to achieve that. And yeah, I mean, highly wouldn't recommend some of it, but as far as, yeah, I mean, it's preference though. Like if that's what you want to do, then go for it. I mean,
then that's the life you want to live. I like that answer, man. I mean, you're the type of guy that's not going to judge or pass judgment based off of, how somebody wants to live their life as far as the nutrition or how they want to look. You look at it more so like, if that's the life you want to live, then that's completely up to you. But for me, it's about being as healthy on the inside as it is on the outside.
Yeah, and that's a tough one too, because someone might be like really ripped or whatever it is, and you know what? They're not doing well on the inside, right? They could have multiple problems,
right? Or
they're not even feeding themselves like properly. Like there's a lot of hidden things, right? I mean, I think for like health in general is going to be eating right, you feel good, your sleep, and training wise. I mean, all of that kind of goes in together, but you want to make sure that your mind is really healthy too, because that plays a big role in how your body changes.
So I'm getting two things from this. Make sure you get enough sleep and don't have the vegan mindset. Don't pick on someone else just because of something that they eat, if they enjoy it or not.
Yeah, no, it's whatever you want to do, right? I mean, we got to look at this as life too. You want to enjoy it. That's why I don't train specific like physique shows or bodybuilding shows, because I don't want to do that. And it's not that interesting for me. I wouldn't get the same rush, I guess you would say, as actually changing someone's life from where it was to where it is now. And it could be a really big one, whether that's through habits and then getting their goals and like achieving the body they want, but also making sure that we have our mind aligned with it as well. And that's a big one too.
Right.
Like when I coach, it's always mind first. It's always, we have to get certain areas done first before we can start hitting the physique or those results, right? Because it's really tough, man, when the mind isn't right and it's not doing the things that we need it to do, or just the mindset or anything like that. It's really bad. So it doesn't work that well. So when you can get them all sorted out and sync together, then that's when you start seeing some real results for sure.
I hear you. That's good. That's good. You mentioned, that's not what you wanted to, do. What is your goals and your aspirations as a nutrition expert? Like, where do you see yourself in the next, 5-10 years from now? Like, where do you want to be?
It's tough. I mean, as far as nutrition goes in that business, I think just staying where I'm going right now. I have the sports side and then just the general kind of public side, and that's the one I hit with entrepreneurs or anyone in that realm that has a really fast-paced lifestyle, right? So that's the one I like, because that's my life. So I know how to navigate through it and the hacks and tricks to get the results you want under limited time or stress or whatever it is, right? So that's the area I'm really good at. I like to coach, so I like going deeper than just like calories and macros, right? Like that's how you get the bodybuilding and whatever. And I mean, there's more to it than that, but for the lifestyle part is what I like to create and help people find a routine and rhythm that works for them. That's what I like.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that before we got on this episode, and me and Max George, we were talking and kind of chatting up and getting to know each other. When he explained that to me, I was like, dude, I mean, as an entrepreneur, it's hard to find time, to work out or be healthy or eat healthy when you're always on the go, you're always going. So that's one of the cool things about, you know, what Max does as a nutrition expert is he knows how to look at someone's lifestyle, what their daily schedule is, and fit in between, you know, whatever that schedule or daily lifestyle is, so that way you can still be healthy. Because I think as an entrepreneur too, all of us tend to ignore, you know, your body and your nutrition and everything like that. So having somebody like Max that can look at that, dissect it, and fit in time for you to actually, you know, eat healthy or go to the gym or whatever that may be, and create that regimen, I thought that was pretty sick. I thought that was pretty dope. And the cool thing about what Max does is, Max, you know, where are you from? I mean, you're not even, me and George are from California, right? And then Max, you're from
Alberta, Canada, man.
You see, he's from Canada. Hey.
hey, oh, all right there, bud. Oh, we're gonna go up to. Oh no, this is more like a Toronto accent there, bud. But no, it's incredible. It's so funny. It's so funny you brought that up, Ob. But I have over the course of the last month of just reaching out to people, not just with entrepreneurship, but like in editing groups and stuff. Terry, if you're listening to this episode, I'm talking about you. I've met people from like Toronto, Ottawa, Vancouver. I even met a newfie. It took me about 30 minutes to figure out how to say hi, but I was meeting with everyone. It's incredible what we have access to these days. And the kind of like-minded people we have.
Right. What I was going to say is, Max can create that plan, right? Max, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he can create that nutritional plan no matter where you're at. That was one of the things that he explained to me. I was like, are you serious? Like, usually people think like, oh, you have to have somebody locally or something like that to help you get to where you want to be as far as your health. But Max was like, no, I mean, it doesn't matter where you're at, whether you're in Iowa or, you know, California or Florida or Canada. You know, I can still help you create a nutritional plan. And I was like, okay, that's different. You know, usually people that are in Max's field, they tend to stay within like their realm, whatever that, you know, may be, whether it's their city or their state, you know. So I thought that was pretty cool when it came to, you know, what Max does for a living. But another question that I wanted to ask you was, you know, being in the nutrition field, what will be your best advice, Max, for somebody that's wanting to be a nutritional expert like yourself? Like, if you were to go back and, you know, tell your, you know, high school self or whatever about this field of work, or, you know, a young person younger than us that says, hey, you know, I want to be a nutritional expert, Max, you know, where should I start? Or what would be your best advice for me? What would you say that to that young man or young woman?
Yeah. Definitely the first thing is getting to know yourself first and see how it works with you. I think just kind of jumping on it and then trying to like kind of make that work or whatever it is, I think that it just becomes a little bit tough because you haven't had enough like scenarios, right? So that's really where you start learning is with real people doing it full time. That's when you can really dial it in, I guess you'd say. Obviously, we want education. We want to go to school, get this stuff down, maybe take some extra courses. The main thing that I like to do too is really go into your niche spot too. So like even performance nutrition as well. It's just like you want to go deep as you can into it. So you're always like self-educating that way as well. So lots of just different materials, lots of books, studies. I read all those, make sure that we can get even deeper into it as well. That's pretty much the easiest, or the way you should definitely do it. But for me, right. I thought I can't complain with how I did it. I did it in my view, like as good as I could. Really, I really focused on myself, did like trial and error stuff on myself. And then that's when I took it to people and then used what I used for myself just in a better way, because obviously your first go around is a little bit slower, but you kind of find out the tweaks or whatever, and that's when I applied it to my first person, and it worked really well. But that's what I think is experience for sure. It's really helps because you get a lot of different people, right? And no one's gonna be the same.
Yeah. Not everybody's body's gonna be the same or react to certain, you know, supplements or whatever that may be, or regimens. the right way. So you would say start with your inner self, start with yourself first. And that's...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I was just going to say, start with that and then start working on yourself. But like, yeah, you can get that education at the same time too, right? It might take a lengthy time. So you can be doing both together and really like using what they're giving you and trying it on yourself, right? And then you can see the results there. So that's even the good first client is yourself through school. So
for sure. It's funny you mentioned education. I always, as a real estate agent, I tell people all the time, like when they ask me what's it like being a realtor or how can I get into it, I tell them knowledge is king. You know, the more you know, the more you educate yourself, the better you're going to be to educate someone else on how the real estate market is going and stuff like that, or what it takes to buy or sell a home. You know, that's the thing that not a lot of people, you know, focus on. They always focus on what everyone else is doing versus what they're doing and what knowledge they're intaking, so that way they can share it with the rest of the world. And that's what's most important.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I got previously too. It was just like, what do you think about what other people are doing in the fitness space or whatever? And my answer was pretty like straight up. I was just like, I'm literally not even watching what they're doing. I don't even care. Like I don't at all. I mean, there's times, where I do feel like bad that there are some out there that kind of just look at dollar signs and they just push out random things that they hope to flip a profit and that type and the material, like that's one thing to do that and your material is bang on and it's good and people love it, but it's another one when it's like when it's garbage and it's not actually doing anything. I mean, it's just that's the only part where I was just like, what do you think about it? And that was it. It was just like, I don't like how they're using it in this way and they're not actually improving. Because I've had a lot of clients come to me and they want to sign up and whatever, but they're like, oh, I just got off of XY, whatever's name plan. And they're like a pretty decent sized influencer or whatever you want to call them. And it was not good. And now they're having issues with eating patterns or whatever it is, or even, just self-confidence and stuff like that, because now they've officially failed. And they're now like, I can't do another one, right? So it's there's good and bad to it, but that's my only downfall of the full industry. So
and that's the thing too. I mean, you know, we had a different episode with Brandy Kekoa. She was talking about the same thing, about how she didn't even focus on anyone else. You know, she just zoned in on herself. At first she was, you know, wondering what this person was doing, what that person was doing, and try to replicate it in some way. And then she said she stopped, and she stopped following all the other people that were doing the same thing she was trying to do. Stopped focused on all of them and focused on herself and what she wanted her brand to be and what she wanted to be known for. And then from there, that's when she just took off and exploded, you know. But but anyway, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a short break, and then we're gonna get back to it. And the first thing that I'm going to ask you when we get back, Max, is, you know, what motivates you? So stay tuned, guys. Listen, buying and selling a house is a big step for a lot of people. But with the right person by your side, anything is possible. That's why picking a realtor you can trust matters. I decided to get into real estate to provide hope that with the right help, anything is possible. So if you or a loved one needs any help understanding how to buy or sell a house, contact me. I'll be the realtor, 760-675-2275. Now, let's get back to the show. All right, guys, welcome to the second segment of today's episode of Millennial Motive. Again, we have our special guest, Max, here, a nutrition expert out of Albuquerque, Canada. And, you know, to start...
Alberta,
Canada.
What the heck? Oh my goodness, you sound like an American, dude. Come on, you got to realize.
I know, right?
We're not the only country in the world.
He's like, get it right. But Canada, but you know, to start this second segment, you know, the first thing I want to ask you, Max, is when you close your eyes and you think about who you are at the core, right, and what you do for a living as an entrepreneur. And you think about this question, you know, who or what motivates you? Go ahead and give me that answer. So what is your motive? I
mean, we all have a few of them, but like my main one is seriously just the messages, the emails, and the texts you get from the clients that I have. When you get the text or message that says they've changed this amount, or, hey, you know what, this week I'm down this much, I feel better. Or even the ones where it's just like, hey, like they hated cooking before, and now they're cooking every meal, right? Like they used to order out all the time because they didn't know how, or they didn't like to cook, or whatever the case is. And now they're like, I actually love cooking now again, or whatever that is. But that's the reason why I do it. And that's what keeps me going to do it, right? Like keeps me coming back and keep on pushing and helping everyone out. That is 100% the reason why.
I see. So when you get that feedback from the people that you help, and when you're changing their lives, whenever they DM you or email you or text you or call you about how their life has changed because of the what you've done to help them, that's what.
On the shorter side, yeah, like the day-to-day, the weekly stuff, like that's what keeps me going day-to-day with the work. And then obviously at the end of like however long we work together, usually it's quite a bit longer, but like you can take someone and have them completely changed in like the year or 2 years or whatever. And then you see that's like the big one. That's the one that makes me, like your skin crawls for a couple days, it's just like, you can't even believe it either. It's just like, this is amazing feeling. And there's there's no money that could make me feel like that, so it's definitely not worth that. Yeah. It's worth the results and how they feel about themselves. And if I was able to change their life in any way and be a part of it, I love it. So,
yeah. So I'm guessing that's kind of a, leading into my next, my final question, and I'll let George kind of take the rest of it. It goes a little bit into my next question, which is, what is the hardest thing about your career that still makes it rewarding? What would you say that is?
It's kind of, I don't know about that one. The most challenging thing, but still rewarding. I don't know. It's always a challenge. It's just, you got to find ways around it or whatever it is. But I honestly couldn't even say what's the most challenging. It's all has its areas, and it's all rewarding. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's nothing that's like really stands out that's like, this is really hard. Like, and it's just like, it's always like a different challenge. It's always different with everyone else. I mean, you take the same methods, but there's certain things that work for some people and don't for the others, like I said. So, I mean, it's that's why I love it, because it's not just like, I don't go into work and do the same shit every day. So it's like now everyone's a little bit different. We take different methods. There's different scenarios, and now we can, it's something relatively new, or we have to take a different approach. So it's always different. That's why I love it.
And I think that's what I mean by, challenging, right? Your day-to-day life is different from each client that you get. Same with me as a real estate agent. I have to treat clients differently. You have to be a chameleon in my industry. You have to, come off a certain way or approach someone a certain way, or some people may not like that I'm very techie and very, dialed in on, sending out emails and stuff. Some people like paper, you know what I mean? So similar to you as a nutrition expert, right? You get people that you're like, okay, here's your diet plan, and here's, the days or whatever, your macros or whatever that may be. Here's the days you exercise. But then, they're like, wait a minute, this may be too much. And you have to, shift how you program their life and their nutrition versus someone else. You can't just give the same thing to each individual, and I would say, would you say, that, it definitely is, the most challenging or hard thing about your career, but it's still rewarding, because at the end of it, even though you dial all that in and you have to treat one person different than the other, which is a good thing to do, you seek that reward, which what you were saying is, the positive feedback that you get that makes your skin crawl.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty much it right there. It's no plan is set for everyone. So we're always developing new ones or a different method for this person, whatever. But the main thing is, it's so many different starting points, right? Like like you guys might have different starting points from each other. Like we're, you know what I mean? Like we don't know your level of fitness, your nutrition, right? So I got some people who start out with literally like day planning, right? Making sure that we have organization within our life to make sure that we can actually do the task that I'm going to give you, right? If we're not organized like that, or even somewhat like a little bit, then we're not really going to get those results, because we're not going to do those tasks because we don't have them, like they're not fresh in our mind, they're not written down. There's like, you're more likely to not do it if they're not, right? And so we have to get our life organized first and get the mind organized as well before we can start actually doing that stuff, because that's when the motivation kind of runs out too, right? So we got to have set the goals, set everything up for you to win. And that's, you know, so someone who already has that, maybe, we can jump right into looking at more the nutrition side of it before we go into like scheduling and sleep and hydration and all that other stuff that probably should come first, right? So there's a lot of different starting points, and that's why the plans don't work with everyone else, right? It has to be specific to that person, because they have a way different starting point.
Right. Because I know that my starting point and George's starting point, like how you were saying, two different starting points, right? I mean, for me, in high school, I was always, I played football in high school, so I was always involved in the gym. So that's it's already my lifestyle, which is, where George, not so much. And I'm not trying to.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. I tell people, this is how you can tell we're best friends. Even on a podcast, he's able to roast me like this. No, but seriously, my not necessarily physique, but my like love for like workouts is not in the gym. I'm not a gym rat. I'll go on hikes. I'll go like running. We were just talking about it before recording running. My favorite thing to do, I was telling Obi this a couple months back, is I'll do open water swims. That's not something you can do in Alberta because everything is like cold. But I love open water swims. I did half a kilometer back in September in the water, in the ocean, which is amazing. I love I have the fat content of an aquatic mammal, so I can keep myself warm, and I can keep myself active. But during quarantine, that's not necessarily as feasible. So I kind of wanted to ask you this. As an entrepreneur and as someone who focuses on fitness and everyone's own individual situations, what are some things, like, as entrepreneurs, you would recommend what is something you can recommend to entrepreneurs to increase their overall fitness level, and why should they even care about improving their fitness level?
That's good. We'll start off with why you should care. Everyone should care. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that just don't. And again, that's your choice. If that's how you want to do it, that's up to you. If you want to excel within like your business and life, then nutrition and your health is going to be a big part. There was I saw a video the other day, and he was just like, he was a big entrepreneur guy, multimillionaire, whatever it was, but he was just like, I'm so routine and I'm so like into like my health and fitness that it helps me like excel within my business by X amount. And it is true. I have a lot of clients like that too, and they're like, I just want to get this last one dialed in, and it's my nutrition, because it kind of gets like pushed aside because there's so much work, and they can feel it too. They're like, well, once I have this dialed in, and once we start getting to like their goals and reaching it, then they already can tell it's folding over into their business, and they're performing better at work. Their decision-making skills are just going out of control, right? Like everything's flowing much easier or faster, or they're getting more stuff done in a shorter time. Like there's a lot of different things, but why you should, I mean, it's your body. You get one of them, you might as well treat it well, right? So that's correct, the main one for sure. So brush me up on the other one.
So, what should they do? So the first question, we're doing this backwards. The second question was why you should even care about it. The first one was what are some tips you can give to someone as an entrepreneur? Because a lot of us are at our desks, a lot of us are just typing away. and not all of us have the ability to go or have the privilege of having a home gym. So what are some things we can do fitness, nutrition wise that would help our overall mental clarity and mental stamina?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me and what I do, I'm at the desk a lot. So, for me to get like a good productive day in and get my work done, I really have to split it up. So first thing in the morning is always workout at the gym. If I don't have the gym, I use resistance bands because I still want to have some sort of weight or tension, right? So that's what I do. It works really well. A lot of my clients do it as well too. They have their bands that I send them or whatnot, but that is the main thing, is splitting it up. So I have a morning one and then I have an afternoon one. The reason for this is not even for the results wise and staying healthy. This is to break up my work days, because sometimes they're long and I can't sit here for 15 hours and just be on a computer. So I have to break it up. So that's the main reason why, or I'll go do any other activity like that. I work a lot better once I do that. So I recommend splitting it up, and it doesn't have to be an hour and an hour. You can do half an hour and half an hour, whatever it is, as long as you kind of break that up. Again, there's no specific amount that you have to do. It's whatever works with your schedule as well. This is a big thing we walk over, and I got some guys that work out 3 times a week, and I got some that work out 6 times, and it's all what you have time for, what your end goal is, and kind of what you like and what you want to do, right? So everyone's very different that way, but we can definitely achieve those goals, no problem, with your amount of time or dedication you have to it. But obviously there has to be some sort of dedication and drive to go forward with it, right? So
right.
That's one thing, is I'm always selective of who I pick up. I make sure that they're really ready to go, and they're ready to learn and put the tasks and material to use, and put the time aside to get this done, right? I mean, if we all sit there and audit our time for the day, I mean, sometimes I even blow my own mind. You're just like, what did I even do today? You know, so you have those off days or whatever it is, and you can catch yourself. Like, there's a lot of people that are scrolling on like the Instagram or TikTok or whatever, or you get lost on YouTube, and I mean, they're like, oh, I don't have time to work out or whatever, but you just wasted 2 hours total throughout the day. It might be 15, 20 minutes here, whatever. But like, you add it all up, and there's a lot of time there. So I don't think a lot of people really realize that and really take the time to look at their day and schedule it out like that. But that's the tips. I was going to say that.
So the two tips is, number one, I mean, even you don't have to have a gym, especially now, with COVID, everybody's dealing with COVID.
Everybody,
right
yeah,
and
we're
so
all in
I think
it.
everybody has to find a way to adapt to, being healthy and working out from home. So number one, you would say resistance bands.
I love those things.
Yeah, I don't even have them. So, now that you're saying it, I'll probably, after this episode, shoot to the store and grab some, So you'd say resistance bands, but 2 different types, probably a less stronger one and a even stronger resistance. And then number 2, you would say really block out time, You're saying like you... Go ahead.
No, I was just saying for the tips on getting more productive work day, that's what I'm saying, is like working out in the morning and working out later in the afternoon or evening, just to break it up, to have a better work day and get more stuff done just mentally. That's what I would do. For the tips for working out, like, and getting your results at home, yeah, I mean, like, I would be doing like walks or runs outside to make sure you're getting like that fresh air. You're not, it's stuck in the house all the time or whatever it is, and make sure you get out. But like, the resistance bands are great. If you can grab a few dumbbells, that's awesome too. Like, I've heard of guys doing full workouts with like a bag of rice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you got to get creative and stuff. You can grab a few dumbbells or a backpack full of stuff, books, I don't care. So you got to get creative. But that's when people start to lack, is when they have to come up with their own stuff, and it's not what they're used to. And they automatically just like, oh, I'm not going to benefit from this, right? And when you can do amazing things with an example of like bands, like you can do a crazy amount of stuff. The first quarantine, that's like for the first month, and that's what I'm even doing now, is just like band work, and it keeps me maintained. Like, I still love it. And it works well. So I mean, that's where it kind of gets rough, is just like when we have a lockdown, like our gyms aren't open here, and it's just like, okay, like I'm just going to use this time to rest, or it's just another excuse, like, oh, I don't have this or that. Like, I mean, you don't have to go spend 10 grand on your home gym. I mean, you grab like a $60 set of bands and you get 4 different ones. You can do a lot of stuff with that, right? And especially with a workout plan as well, like that comes with it, that's going to even be better, right? So that's what I would do. You gotta be creative, find some stuff, and keep yourself motivated. I know it's a little bit tough in your own house, but
yeah, you got to work with what you got. Or you can just reach out to Max, and Max got that all covered for you.
There you go. I've actually got
that's advice number 3.
I've actually got an additional question to ask Max. This is something I asked John Barron back almost a year ago. Wow. You were mentioning about the off days and stuff. So I asked John Barron this, and his answer was incredible. I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head. I remember the feeling I got from asking him. But let me see if I can ask you, and maybe that'll jog my memory a little bit. It is easy to work out on the on days. It is easy to knock out 15, for me, like 12 or 15 photo shoots in a week with the on days. But the dreaded off days. How do you minimize the damage an off day does to your overall plan?
How do you minimize? It's tough. It really, like, as an off day, I'm talking like when you wake up and it's already not going well. You don't, like, is this kind of what we're going with, right? Like you're tired today, or you're lazy today, you're unmotivated, like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of where we're going,
those
right?
are the off days.
Yeah. So that one's tough, because like I know when I have those, I don't definitely throw it all away. I definitely sit down and kind of regroup. I might take a little more time to get the day started, but I make sure that I stick to my routine, because I know that this is what's going to get me in it, right? So making sure I do my morning routines, my journaling in the morning, make sure I'm planning out my day, like looking over what I planned the day before that as well, and adding anything else I need. But I just take time for like relaxation, which is mainly going to be almost like a meditation type. I like to sit before and do visualization stuff. So that's kind of where I look at how I want my life to be, like what I want in my life, and look over some other things as well. But it's good visualization of what I want, right? And what I want to become. And that's what motivates me, or gives me that little extra push to keep going. And even on those off days, it's just like I just put my headphones in, put my music on, I have my list that I need to do, and then I just start working. It might be a little bit harder. I still get the work done, and it's a battle, but those are the days where we all know that pushes you forward for sure.
Yeah. So I like that. So you would say, just to reiterate, you would say, number 1, I mean, when you get out of bed and you're like, today's just not the day, or you're getting bad news or whatever that may be, you would say what you do is you would stop and just get into a meditative state, whether that's breathing exercises or reading a book, whatever you want to do as far as meditating, number 1. But number 2, structuring yourself, meaning, create that to-do list and just knock out the to-do list. And it's funny you mention that, because that's one of the things that I do on a day-to-day basis, whether it's an off day or not an off day, is you have a to-do list. Because something about a to-do list, I mean, satisfying. Once you kill, like, let's say you had 10 things to do, and you're knocking them dead, and you got all of it completed for the day, you feel like you won the day. So it can change that morning where you feel groggy, you feel tired, you feel unmotivated, to now the day is ending and you're like, I did everything I wanted to do today. And the meditating in the middle of that, is kind of regroup your brain and kind of give you a restart, is very important too. I like that. Yeah,
I think same, especially with the tired thing, because that happens to me a little bit, a little more often. Is just like I'm just drained for some reason. But the best one for me is like the cold shower thing. That one gets you going, like, for sure. It definitely helps, like, my brain, everything like that starts working really well. But yeah, I definitely take the time. I try not to look at my phone. That's a huge one in the morning. But the more you stay into the routine, you definitely have way, way, way less of those days, right? So the more you're in routine with everything and how your body works, and you notice this stuff, like once you get into a really specific one and it's really dialed in, then you start noticing some crazy stuff. So like your sleep schedule, like you go to bed at the same time every day, you're waking up same time, you're doing the same things in the morning. Like it sets yourself up for like success, right? So you're able to have, most of your days are going to be great days if you keep doing this, right? Because nothing's interfering. It's when you stay up too late one night or you get in a mood or you get that news or whatever and you hold on to it and you don't regroup and get moving again, that's when it starts to, your whole schedule kind of goes out, right? So like that's what I'm kind of saying is like the more you stay in routine with it, the better off you're going to be, and you're not going to have as many of those days. But
I like that.
Bouncing back is the planning thing. That's what I like to do. Just I like to do that visualization, and just chill for 5 seconds, regroup and just say, okay, this is what I'm doing and I'm committing to doing this. And that's how my brain works anyway. Like if I don't get these 5 things done, then I'm going to be choked and I'm going to get it done. Yeah. I might not like it, but that's where that discipline things comes in, right? So you got to do that stuff in those hard times to develop that. And it's really hard when you're just relying on motivation in the good days. I mean, you're not going to get very far.
Right. I like that. Well, Max, I mean, dude, you've given us so much juicy content in this episode, man. I'm pretty sure, for all the viewers and listeners that have listened to this whole podcast already, I'm sure they've gotten a lot of good insight. And, definitely a good bird's eye view of what it means to, be healthy, not just on the outside, but on the inside too, as far as your mindset, your internal health, your external health. And I'm sure they can now see why it's important, to have somebody like you in their life as a nutritional expert, So I want to, go ahead and stop this episode, but I wanted to, appreciate you for taking the time out of your day to get on here, especially during these trial times with COVID. This is, again, the first time we've ever had to do an episode like this, and I appreciate you taking the time to do it in this manner. If it wasn't for COVID, trust me, we would somehow find a way to meet in person, but I appreciate you taking the time for sure.
Thank you. I loved it. I love doing this stuff. I mean, I can talk for hours on it, but give you guys some solid information on it, but thanks for having me. Loved it. Can't wait for our next one.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to go ahead and let the listeners and the viewers know where to find you, go right on ahead. I mean, I know you're on social media and everything like that. If you want to give out your personal email or phone number or whatever, how can the people that are listening and viewing get in touch with you?
Yeah, so the easiest way is just Instagram, at Max Cathcart. That's the one that I pay attention to the most. I'm pretty active in that. Email is cathcartmax@gmail.com. You can also, I'm pretty active on that one too, but those are the main ones. That's where I put most of my attention to for reach outs and client work is there. So definitely those are the two.
All right, cool. Well, again, I appreciate your time. The viewers and listeners, I appreciate you guys taking the time to plug into Millennial Motive. We're going to definitely have Max on to a second episode, and we're definitely going to catch up with him and talk to him a little bit more about, how he's doing as far as his nutrition world. But he, just to close this off, he is also working on another business venture when it comes to helping people develop home gyms and things of that nature. And just stay tuned, because when we have him on board, we're going to definitely catch up on him on that. But until next time, guys, appreciate the time. God bless. Stay safe. Until next time.